In 2018, the Chicago Department of Aviation unveiled plans for a massive $8.5 billion renovation project of O'Hare International Airport. Dubbed ORD21, the project was Chicago's vision for a modern, efficient, and accessible international gateway, something that was desperately needed as O'Hare's existing terminals were operating around full capacity. Over the decade to follow, ORD21 would see the airport undergo a gradual transformation, eventually becoming a proper world-class aviation hub for the 21st century. Now, in true American transport project fashion, a lot of this project was significantly delayed. Recent developments in the ORD21 project were the completion of the new runway 927 center in 2020, and of course the beautiful new Terminal 5 expansion completed in 2023. I made a video on that last year shortly after its inauguration, so be sure to check that out if you haven't already. Progress on the biggest part of ORD21, specifically the terminal area project, remained stagnant mainly due to funding issues. However, 6 years after the project was announced, the newest official renderings of these new terminals have been revealed. Referred to as a game changer for the city of Chicago, these new structures will play a massive role in modernizing O'Hare's operations and making it a more world-class airport. So finally, without any further delay, let's explore what the terminal area project encompasses and what changes it will bring. The first and biggest part of the terminal area project is the opening of the long-awaited global terminal. It's worth noting that this entire project is largely being funded by American and United Airlines, and the global terminal project was almost cancelled in November 2023 after its cost had gone far over budget. Earlier this year, in May 2024, both airlines agreed with the city of Chicago to allow the global terminal project to continue. This agreement saw the global terminal project being accelerated while construction of the two new satellite concourses that I'll cover later in this video would be delayed. The global terminal will replace the current Terminal 2, a step that was deemed more critical to complete first. Unlike Terminal 2 currently, the global terminal will have both international and domestic arrival gates, and also new customs and immigration facilities among other features. As you can tell by the name, the global terminal is intended to host more international operations, primarily from airlines in the Oneworld or Star Alliances, as American and United respectively are members of these alliances. This would make international to domestic connecting operations and vice versa much easier because, as you might know, the current setup is sort of a mess. Let's say you were arriving from Helsinki on Finnair and needed to connect to a domestic American Airlines flight to St. Louis. Well, congratulations, now you have to clear customs and baggage claim in Terminal 5, exit the terminal entirely, take the train to Terminal 3, re-clear security, and then board your flight. So hopefully the global terminal will eliminate this hassle. It should be noted that the global terminal will not entirely replace Terminal 5 for international operations, but will definitely decrease the current load on Terminal 5. I assume that Terminal 5 will continue to house operations for US carriers like Southwest, Frontier, Sun Country, and of course Delta. However, it would make the most sense to keep all of the SkyTeam Alliance airlines at Terminal 5 instead of moving them all to the global terminal. This way, passengers flying airlines like Air France, KLM, Aeromexico, and Scandinavian will be able to access facilities like the Delta Sky Club and also easily connect from or to Delta flights if needed. The global terminal housing Star Alliance and Oneworld carriers makes the most sense, primarily because American's Terminal 3 is right next door, and the same case with United's Terminal 1. Now, speaking of Terminal 1, the next part of the terminal area project will see a new satellite concourse being added to Terminal 1. Just for those unaware, a satellite concourse or terminal, it's basically a structure detached from the other airport buildings so that aircraft can park around its entire circumference. The new concourse will essentially be an expansion of Terminal 1's existing satellite concourse, Concourse C, and connected by an external walkway. This new satellite concourse is being referred to as Satellite 1 and will add 19 new gates. Considering Terminal 1 is entirely used by United Airlines along with departures for partners ANA and Lufthansa, it's reasonable to infer that United will use the entirety of this new concourse. Work, from what I can tell, has already begun on building the Satellite 1 concourse, and if you've passed through O'Hare lately, pretty much all of that construction by the terminals is either for this reason or the new global terminal. To ensure that operations at Concourse C aren't impacted as much, 3 new temporary gates were added earlier this year, which I think are C4, C6, and C8, and you can easily identify them based on how ridiculously long they are, especially gate C4. Barring any further delays, the new Satellite 1 concourse is expected to be completed by 2028. Now, you should notice that the new satellite concourse's name is Satellite 1, and that's because it's one of 2 new satellite concourses planned under the Terminal Area project, the other being Satellite 2. Not much has been specified regarding Satellite 2, but as you can see based on the renderings, it will be built further west of Concourse C, and I think construction has also been proceeding on that side based on what I've seen lately. However, it should be added that the construction of Satellite 2 will only be completed if sufficient funds remain after earlier work is completed, like that of constructing Satellite 1. Nothing has been specified regarding Satellite 2, but based on where it's positioned, it looks like this will also be part of Terminal 1 and connected with an underground walkway, just like the current concourses B and C. Based on the renderings, Satellite 2 looks like it will add around 24 new gates, which is a lot of new gates for United Airlines. But then again, Terminal 2 right now is overwhelmingly United Express and United Mainline, so with that terminal getting replaced, it would definitely help to have more gates to especially support the regional jet flights that Terminal 2 mainly caters to. Now, one elephant in the room that we definitely need to address is the long distances between many of these terminals, especially the upcoming satellites. Terminal 5's new expansion is a long walk from the main check-in area, and there aren't even moving walkways in a good portion of the hallways that reach the expansion. So when it comes to these new satellites, it remains to be seen if moving walkways will be installed to facilitate passengers with limited mobility. The renderings of the new satellite concourses and global terminal look unlike anything we currently have at O'Hare. You see massive and spacious new terminals with tree-like columns supporting the roof, giving the feeling of a tree orchard. Now, this was actually done on purpose because O'Hare sits on land that was once lined with orchards. I mean, why do you think O'Hare's code is ORD? Well, that's because it's a reference to its original name, Orchard Field. So overall, it's really exciting to see the changes coming to O'Hare over the coming years. It's high time that many parts of the airport were modernized, and I'm glad that proper investments are being made to further transform O'Hare into a better aviation hub. Terminal 3 as well is getting a massive $300 million renovation project that will be completed by 2027. So really, O'Hare is going to be a completely different airport in just a matter of years. Now, the ORD21 project was initially launched with the completion date of 2026, but of course due to delays that's been pushed back for 2032 as of right now. Let me know what you think of these changes coming to O'Hare and what other ideas you might have. As always, thank you very much for watching, and until next time, take care and goodbye.